Good afternoon for the second time in this Toyota 86 League, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Willow Springs, and in qualifying we've been sent wide there as well as Stingray by Dynamite, who was recovering from an off-track excursion, which is very unfortunate and in my opinion a breakage of the rules. However, we would continue, and the next lap in fact we would remain in line with our two rivals. We were first, second and third at the time in the session, and this next lap would actually be the pole lap as a result of the slipstream I received from a combination of the two gentlemen in front. Off to the side, a car pulling over. That did not matter though, as Dynamite was providing me with the slipstream at this point. I'm purple. It would be really great if he would get out of the way at this point though, otherwise I'll be checked up. And he duly spins out, which helps quite a lot, given I can now close up to the back of Stingray for the long straight that ends the lap. Now of course, post-race, Dynamite and I had a bit of a disagreement. He's since apologised for the comments made in the steward's thread, kind of dug himself a bit of a hole there. He actually went as far as trying to remove me from the league. He has since realised the error of his ways and apologised though, so please don't be too harsh in the comments against him. We won't go too deep into it. I don't want to reignite the discussion too much. Just want to make sure that I'm as transparent as possible in what I show, so that no one believes I'm hiding anything from this race. Now you can see that I'm getting a very good slipstream from Stingray, and he'll pull me across the line to pole position. He improves himself, I think, but there we are, purple, and due to the amount of slipstream I got that lap, no one was able to beat it. I mean, Stingray tried to hit up a cone. I was purple myself in the first sector. It was pretty much impossible to maintain it for the entire lap. And as you can see, we made a couple of mistakes trying to beat that lap. Anyhow, it would be my first pole of the season. Stingray second, Murph third, and OP in fourth. That covers the first two rows. Not a particularly great launch for anyone, although Viper did move up, as we lost OP due to that strange glitch where someone becomes invisible and unable to race, and stuck on the grid basically. Stingray would force his way through at turn 2, being on the right hand side, and I wasn't particularly impressed by this. However, I had the overlap to go up the inside in the left hander, that is turn 3, got a bit sideways though, and before you'd know it, even though I'm pretty much on the full right hand side, he finds a way down the inside with some contact to retake the lead. Into the slipstream I go, and then I make my own dive, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other I think, given how he got down the inside. So all's fair in love and war I guess, and we got the lead back momentarily before Murph came charging through the field with some pace and managed to overtake me into turn 1. Didn't really want to hold each other up too much, but we ended up having goes at each other into turn 1. Given the slipstream, I went far too deep, and that allowed Viper to catch both of us, unfortunately, as we were trying to break away, and Viper would indeed sweep around the outside of 2 and take second place from me. There's a little bit of lag, as you can see. I decided to pit. I was thinking about doing a 3-stop at this stage, although it was quite easily convertible to a 2-stop. I was expecting very much to make an undercut. As you can see, fueling not for too long and coming out in 7th. A couple of cars pit the next lap, actually 3 of my rivals, Nemo, Dynamite, Murph, and I was surprised to see Dynamite and Murph out not only in front of me, but Dynamite, who was actually behind me, having overcut me. Bit of contact there on the exit, and unfortunately for Murph, he would have a very sideways couple of moments down the front straight, costing him multiple positions. Now Dynamite made a mistake in turn 1, and I had the run, but he moved over far too late. I also believe that was illegal. That's for the stewards to decide if they ever decide to do anything. And unfortunately I got into the back of him there. At the time I thought he had brake tested me. Turns out by looking back at the footage he just brakes a bit earlier than I do, and I broke a little bit too late that time. That was my mistake, and I apologised for that post-race. I think Dynamite took it a bit far in the stewards chat, saying that I should be disqualified, maybe a 10 or 20 second penalty. Got around Steve there, who had not made his pit stop yet, and that would be followed up by a little mistake here. Thankfully I was able to catch it, but unfortunately that trip across the gravel did give me a penalty eventually. There it is, 0.8. Don't know how they figure out those penalties on this game. Anyhow, we continued, and Viper would manage to go over halfway on what we later realised were soft compound tyres, So he was very fast and he really deserved the position he managed to get at the end of the race. I converted to a 2-stop. As you can see, this is my final stop, and to put a bit more fuel in, and was surprised once again to find Dynamite really close to me on the track. So I don't know what was up with my pit stops. As for the cars are in the pits and Fubbles emerges in front of me, again, what is happening with my pit stops? Why are they so long? It's very difficult to understand why I'm losing so much time in the pits. Anyhow, it's the last lap now. My tyres have absolutely given up. Murph pitted later than me for his final stop and is harassing me now for 3rd place. I take a defensive line into the final turn, but I don't get it quite right. Get onto the apex curb a bit too much, go wide, and almost destroy both of us there, which would have been cataclysmic, but Murph does get through, and I end up 4th. Good for Murph though. He's had a lot of pace this season, and I believe he might be a championship contender, so good luck to him in the long run. 4th, not so great. Not one of my best circuits. For transparency reasons, guys, I'm just going to include these screenshots of the post-race discussion with Dynamite. You can make your own conclusions. I'm not going to draw any attention to anything. Anyway, I've been Jacko. See you next time.